Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster and I thought I'd do another really short video for you today. Now you may have seen my video from a week or so ago where I came up with a brilliant idea to convert a handheld belt sander into a bench sander, which didn't turn out quite as well as I expected. In fact, I burnt out the motor to my sander. Now, as I've said many times before, I really dislike sanding. It's not something I enjoy out of the woodworking process, but I do like the sanded finish. So I thought I'd try something a little bit different this time, and I was actually down a local DIY shop recently and I came across this, which is just a small detail orbital sander. Now, one of the things I found with the bench sander, or the converted bench sander, is that it's actually got quite a lot of power to it. And as you can see on this little piece here that we tried, it's sort of cut quite deeply into this piece of wood. So I thought what I'd do is I'd try something. Not only was this particularly cheap, it's actually about £15. Now that was on an offer. I think they're usually 25, but even so, for £25 for something like this, I thought it might actually be quite a good investment. So I haven't actually tried this properly yet. I'm going to do it on camera just so we can see how it performs. Now this will sand slower than a belt sander, just by virtue of what it is. It's normally designed for things like door frames and window frames, removing paint and sort of sanding down very fine bits. So what I won't be able to do is get these tool marks out really quickly. But what it will allow me to do is give me a bit more control. So although it takes slightly longer, I think it will give us a better result, or at least that's what I'm hoping. So what I figured I'd do is I'll bring the camera a bit closer in. I'll just show you this close up, and we'll see how well it performs. Right then guys, well here is a little close-up of this sander. It's got a little exhaust port that you can attach to a hoover if you want to. It's not something I'm really going to be doing in my little workshop here. You've got a simple on and off button. You've got removable, replaceable, sort of velcroed on sanding pads, so you can buy sort of these in packs of I think 10. You've got a little piece here, this little sort of diamond shape that you should hopefully just be able to make out. You can remove that and replace them. So once the tip, if you're using it for really fine detail work, you can take that off, turn it round, put it back in, so you've got twice the use out of it. And I think this is going to work pretty well. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this. Now this is where we tried to sand it last time, and you can see these kind of big marks where the belt is cutting quite deeply. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and smooth off this area here and see if I can blend these two together. Now it's probably only going to take a minute or two. Now you're not going to be able to hear me over the noise of it. It's not that it's massively loud, but in the close confines of the workshop, you're probably not going to hear me be able to speak. So what I'll do this for kind of a minute or two, and then we'll come back and I'll show you sort of how well it's performed. Right then, so let me get this close up to the camera for you. So hopefully you can see, I mean this area has been smoothed down quite nicely. There's still a few little tool marks in there, but actually I think it's doing pretty well. Now as I said, this is not a fast sander. This is not the kind of thing where you're going to give it a couple of passes and it's going to smooth it down straight away. But if you take into account that this area here, which is relatively smooth, still needs a bit of work, but absolutely, but it's fairly smooth, certainly in comparison to the other side here, where I mean these sides were almost identical. So all in all, I'm relatively pleased with this. Right, so there you go guys, just a really quick introduction to this little sander. Performed roughly how I expected it would do, and I think it's going to be a really nice addition to the type of woodworking that I do. I've got lots of curved surfaces, lots of surfaces that I kind of, by the time I finish carving, I don't actually need to sand off a great deal. It's just about removing the tool marks. And what I suppose I don't want to do, which was kind of proven the other day when I tried the bench sander, was that if it's going too quickly or it's too coarse or what have you, there's too much power in it, you can actually accidentally take off a lot more material than you're planning to. So although this will take me a little bit longer to use, the fact that it's powered and it's doing most of the work for me, I mean I've got one of my little cookers just over here, So when it comes to sanding this, and I need to do this before our next episode on these Cooksers, you know, I can hold this in one hand. You know, this is not particularly dangerous. I mean, you wouldn't want to sort of hold it against your skin, but you know, I have actually sort of passed over the tip of my finger with this by mistake, and you know, it feels a little bit warm, but it's not actually doing any damage, unlike a belt sander, which, you know, I'm perfectly happy using them, but you can do yourself a little bit more damage if you accidentally sort of put a knuckle into it or something like that. But this I can quite happily hold in my hand and just kind of move it over this, you know, and I can really kind of manipulate it to get into areas that maybe would be normally be a little bit more difficult. So hopefully by the time you come to see the next video on our Cooksers, this will have done its work and they'll be nice and kind of sanded down, nice and smooth, almost ready for that final finishing. So that's it, guys, just another quick addition to my tool arsenal. Quite excited about this because I meant to get one of these a little while ago, and I thought, oh, you know, is it going to be worth it? And I'm glad that I picked it up, and I was lucky enough that it had sort of, you know, £10 off its normal price, and they're fairly cheap anyway. There's lots. I mean, this is a, who makes this? This is a Black & Decker one. I mean, there's plenty of other makes than that on the market, and they all do a very similar thing. But if you are like me and you really dislike sanding and you want something just to kind of help out and speed up that process, for the time being at least, you know, I think I can highly recommend one of these. You know, give it a few weeks after I've used it a few more times in the workshop, or maybe I'll give you a little bit of an update, just so you can see my sort of thoughts on after using it for a while. But I hope it was useful, guys. Comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks, guys.